Welcome to episode 41 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. Most people have had the experience of hearing a chirp come from somewhere in their house, often at the most inopportune times. The chirps that follow are spaced far enough apart in the beginning that you can convince yourself that maybe it was nothing. Then it continues, and the chirps get closer together and they get louder. You have to make the decision once you know what it is. It's the smoke detector letting you know that the battery is almost dead. So are you going to fix it now? Or will you wait and hope that it doesn't wake you in the middle of the night? How long can you ignore it before it drives you insane? You just want it to stop. You want to pull out the dying battery because that is what's setting all this chirping in motion. Finally, peace and quiet. You could stop right there and your discomfort would end. But you would also be in danger because the smoke detector is much more than an occasional annoyance. It is what will save you should a fire break out. One move, the removal of the battery, stops the chirps, but only replacing it with a new battery gets you where you need to go. Removing the battery may make you more comfortable, but it ultimately makes your life more dangerous. Our lives and the condition of the collective culture give us similar warnings. In fact, there are natural warning systems in place for everything. Our bodies also start doing the equivalent of chirping when we are making choices in what we do, eat, and drink that are causing problems. Often, traditional medicine will give you a pill to shut down the chirp, the equivalent of pulling the battery to stop the sound, and in no way replacing it with a fresh battery. Our relationships can chirp, our mindsets can cause chirping, our environment is chirping. In all cases, we need to stop and address it with fresh energy. To not do so puts us in peril. In the Rebirth Revolution, we are not annoyed by chirping. We are happy to have that which needs our attention pointed out to us. Resolution number 8 for the new year was that we would let go of everything and everyone who holds us back. Every single chirp that you are ignoring is something that needs your attention, and ignoring the chirp is holding you back. It is customary in our culture to have a long list of things we can do to distract ourselves when the chirping starts. There are endless places we can go with a multitude of people who will serve as our distractions, doing an endless list of activities that will divert our attention from what is really going on. But this is the moment when we really need to pay attention. We are at a flashpoint. It requires our full attention. It's interesting that one of the elements involved in this historic flashpoint is one that requires us to stay at home. We are all, in this moment, given the rare opportunity to stop. But once we stop, we must deal with what is. We must sit with ourselves, with our lives, and with the current reality in this school. That is deeply agitating and disconcerting, but we are up for that. Resolution number 11 for this year was that we would let go of needing to be happy all the time. We would embrace challenges and our own growth. Many of the resolutions we made seemed pretty innocuous when the year began. We had no way of imagining a mere 6 months ago that we would be where we are now. Remember Resolution 13? That we would think outside the cultural narrative? We are getting opportunities for that daily. The same is true for Resolution number 7, that we would embrace full accountability for ourselves and others. We're in the thick of that one, too. If you missed the New Year's resolutions, you'll want to check out episode 17 of Rebirth Revolution. One resolution we can't afford to keep in its original form without serious modification is number 10. We vowed to let others figure out their own paths and solutions. We need to modify that one because some paths will lead to our common destruction. So back to the chirping. We are stuck in the house with the chirping, and it's in stereo. The chirping inside the house is about you and your particular life, the culmination of the choices you have made so far. Then there's the chirping outside the house that can be heard just as loudly. The chirp of social issues that have long been ignored and are now in need of attention. This chirp is about the choices we have made as the collective culture. It's not that we didn't know we had problems. It's not that we thought everything was understood and solved. It's just that we had enough distractions that we were able to put off the work we needed to do. And the work is hard. The work involves understanding the lives of people who are not exactly like you. The work involves coming to terms with the fact that we have been taught a false history of what has been done in the past. The work involves truly listening to and taking in the pain of other people, pain that has been building for generations, as everyone else looked away, feeling that they were not involved. We are all involved. As I explained in the early episodes of Rebirth Revolution, we are all souls in the same school who are working to become complete. Each soul begins at the lowest levels and is internally designed to work through all the challenges needed to achieve the highest level of spiritual awareness, the one where you feel nothing but love and compassion for yourself and others. This is a huge climb, as souls begin at a level when they are not the least bit bothered by brutalizing and killing other students in the school. They do not have empathy or concern for anyone but themselves. The climb involves all the challenges of choosing light over dark that are necessary until you no longer identify with the parts of you that were ruled by darkness. It, on average, takes 9 or 10 lifetimes to go from the lowest levels to the highest levels. It all sounds neat and clean until you come to the realization that evil does not die with the body that it inhabited. We like to think that Hitler, or any person of moral equivalence, did terrible things and then died. End of story. Not so fast. Hitler left the school at a very low level. He has, at minimum, 9 more lives to live to grow out of that very dark space. The souls who were slave owners, the souls who were participants in the Holocaust, the souls who have visited every form of atrocity on their fellow students, need to continue their climb up out of the darkness. And where do they do that? Here in this school. Yes, these are the same souls. This is all very disturbing to think about, yet I find it an explanation that is easier to cope with than the thought that everyone who is enthusiastically marching as Nazis and everyone who is gleefully taking babies from their mothers and putting them in cages are not souls who are new to this type of behavior. They have already done this. It's not like they came here clean and clear and a blank slate and then decided to do these super low-level deeds. They came here that way. And this is why we keep ending up in the same place. It is up to us to not give them the opportunity to reenact their evils, to not repeat history, because that is exactly what they are here to do. That is why history repeats itself, and why what happens in the past matters. It is impossible to get over things when the same souls are here trying to do the same things. The other day I saw an old photo of a town full of white people gathered in the town circle, all light-hearted and smiling. They look like every white person's ancestors, just like all the old photos you have somewhere of the people who came before you. But in this picture, there were also 2 black men hanging from a tree who they had lynched. The juxtaposition was shocking, abject horror with a side of glee. The people in that photo were not only the ancestors of the people who walk the earth now, the people who started the mind virus that so many still struggle with, the generational legacy of hatred. They are not simply sources of embarrassment and shame because of the choices they made. They are back here now, still trying to work it out. And here we are in 2020 with new cases of lynching. It takes 9 to 10 lifetimes to work it all out. How thrilling for those who left the planet as raging racist and anti-Semites to find themselves in a culture that tolerates them marching with tiki torches while spewing their bile, and to watch black people beaten in the streets by law enforcement. How thrilling to find yourself protected by systems that allow you to maim and kill in the interest of acting out your racist fantasies. We know these people were at a kindergarten or first grade level when they left Earth. They still have many grades to go before they will see the light. It's wild to think that these horrific things took place, and then, once stopped, everyone just acted like they never happened. Walking among us are people who put other people in ovens, and after the war, acted like life was normal again. Do you think that those souls left the planet atoned for any of those acts? No, they just went into spiritual hiding. So now we have souls among us who say that the persistent conditions that exist in relation to how we treat each other are problems for which they should not be held responsible, because they didn't do the terrible things. But did they? Those who are still espousing hatred towards others must either be a new soul, or they very well could be the ones who came back in at the grade level they were when they departed. They absolutely could be the person who did the terrible things. The souls who are at low levels do not get canceled. They still must finish their soul's progression, just like everyone else, and we must live with them while they attempt to crawl and claw their way out of the darkest of places. The souls who are currently capable of taking babies from their parents, putting them in cages, and then molesting them are some of the darkest souls imaginable. Those who would hang black men from trees are some of the darkest souls imaginable. The people and systems that allow them to act out their darkness are complicit, which puts them at the same level. In our misunderstanding of how the system works, we think that everything that happens is a one and done, but it is not that simple. We think that if we take people who have done evil things and put them to death, that the evil dies with them. It is not that simple. If pure evil presents itself in the form of a person and we kill that person in 40 lifetimes, they will reemerge in the 41st at or near the very same level. It's not that simple. The only way out of evil, the only way out of the lowest levels of spiritual awareness, is to grow beyond those levels. That is true no matter how many lifetimes it takes. So here's a question. Can we heal the past in the present? Is there anything we can do in current times to bring greater understanding to those at low levels, to teach them about what the original crimes did to others and the fallout from those crimes? Is it possible to teach someone who doesn't care to care? Is it possible to do anything that will help heal the generational wounds of those against whom the crimes were committed? What would fix us? We're all here together in this one-room schoolhouse, working out our issues with one another. There is no way around the fact that we need to grow to a level above the one that supports the dark thoughts and the dark acts. Next week, we will delve deeper into this subject, but I want to let you sit with this for now. This is a lot to take in. It's a complete shift in how we see other students in this school, and it defies the cultural narrative of who is bad and how they got that way. But we did say in New Year's resolution number 13 that we would think outside the cultural narrative this year. We can do this. Look at the world with new eyes and see if it starts to make more sense. Thanks for listening to Rebirth Revolution. I appreciate all seekers. You can find us everywhere you get podcasts, along with on YouTube and SoundCloud. We are on all the social media platforms as well. Until next week, pay attention. Watch the raw footage of what's going on. Find outlets of joy to keep you fueled. And wear a mask. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay safe, remain strong, and we'll see you next week.